teachers. So he didn't designate any leader that take over his thoughts, but he mentioned that we need to take the Dharma and the rules as teachers. So for the division of relative, we talk about that, right? And one Brahman, he stepped up to divide Buddha read it into 8 portions, and something that's the for the lay people. But for the monastic Sangha, so Mahakashipa is, I don't know whether you wrote about him. He is one of what we call the foremost disciple in practicing ascetic practice, and he was given the robe and bow by the Buddha. You know, in Buddhism, even especially in the Zen tradition, robe and bow is too important. They show the authenticity of the tradition. So especially later on, if you have time to study about Zen traditions, they really concern about authenticity of the traditions. Because in Buddhism, we have many different branches, and if you are given robe and bow by the master, by the teachers, you have the authorities to be a holder of that tradition. So Mahakashipa was given by the Buddha robe and bow, but many people thought that he would put over the Buddha's thoughts, but that's not the case. So he convinced 500 arhats, including Ananda and Upali. At that time, according to tradition, Ananda has not achieved to what we call arhatship yet. Arhatship, or holy, or sagehood state of mind yet. Did we talk about arhat yet? We talked about that, right? So sometimes I ask people, when, let's say, if you meet someone on the road, like you go to Louisville downtown or Iraqi, and you meet someone that doesn't have any anger or private, what do you think about that person? Yeah? What do you say?
You assume that their life is easier, they don't have any stress.
Yeah. So the reason why it's so stressful because what? You still have emotional problems. You still have emotional frustration, remember? Like message explained to you. So we still have a lot of expectation. Which we say we must have this, we should do this and so forth. That's the stuff. You understand that? So the one who achieve that state of my arhatship, stay free of mental affliction, mental frustration. They remain neutral most of the times. Their mind is so stable. That's what this means for arhatship. Is understandable, right? And Mahakashipa, he convened, he invites 500 disciples, including Ananda. But after that, before that date, he has not achieved the arhatship, but later at night, he achieved the state of mind. So anyway, so Ananda is the one who recites the Buddha teaching, or what they call sutra. You will be familiar with this word. Sutra, this means Buddha teaching. All right. And Upali, someone wrote about him, right? Upali, remember him? Vinaya. Remember someone? He was barber. Remember? Someone talked about this, right? He came from the low class, the servant class. But when he entered the Buddhist monastic communities, he is one of the Buddha's 10 great disciples. And of course, for the first council, they recite the Buddha teaching orally. They have not written down it yet, because according to the tradition in old times, especially during the Buddha time, they have not have any written records yet. And Okay, so this is a long story involved with them. Anyway, yeah, they decide the Buddhist teachings, the Buddhist Vinaya, that's been the rules, the law of the monastic life orally, and that's the way that they could remember Buddha teaching. Okay, we will talk about that also. Okay, now the next one, John. Oh, John, is it here? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I was with the first Buddhist council.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yes.
So what do you have then?
Okay. The reason they called the first Buddhist council is because after the death of the Buddha, there were some rebellious monks in the community who disliked the Buddha, and they were trying to start a lot of put down about the Buddha. Said, "Well, look, he's dead. Let's be happy. We don't have to follow all those strict rules and everything."
Wow, thank you. And yeah, I'm glad that you put me this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, word got out to the king by way of that person. Yes, he got word, and then so they decided that they needed to call a council to stop these monks who they were trying to divide the community. And so, and plus, the Buddha, he didn't really have like a certain person that had all the knowledge, because he was like a wayfarer. He traveled and he talked like to the king and people like robbers and monks and nuns. So no one person had the total package of his teachings. So they had to call that council to establish what rules they were going to abide by. And it's a whole lot more, but I mean, that's
great. That's great. Yes, I'm glad that you brought up this point. It's understandable, right? This is really important point. I sometimes mention. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Is it true that they, like 3 months after his death, they started the council 3 months after his death?
Yeah, 3 months. Yeah.
And they stayed there for 7 months during the rainy season?
Yes, 3 months. Yeah, and here we have what? Religion, politics, whichever. So, if we talk about spiritual life, right, and if we try to generalize the spiritual path or any kind of religion in some kind of system, I'm talking about that in Buddhism, again, we don't have any main authorities. Like in Catholicism, we have Pope in Rome that control the whole system. And do you understand why the Buddha didn't appoint anyone to take over this office? Why? Why so?
He wanted everybody to find their own enlightenment.
And why? That's one part of that. And what else? What else?
Is it like power, like an attachment?
That's the point. Politics. Politics everywhere. In the classroom, in the school, in business, in community, in society. Because most of the people would like to have some kind of power. I want to be better than you. You understand that? And if we have this politics, what we call power, and this comes from where? Ego, big ego, attachment. See that? You understand now? The reason why he didn't appoint anyone as the leader of the whole Buddhist communities. Because whoever attached this, there's no way for them to be at peace. Is that right? When you play with power, wow, you better, you better be other people, or otherwise you could not be up there, right? Or you may use some means to oppress others so that you can climb up to the ladders. So that's not the way of spiritual life. That's why you understand now. That's why Buddha he didn't have that kind of intention. That's his path for more than 2,500 years. The reason why when you read Buddhism, when you read, the more you read about Buddhism, you see that there's many different groups of Buddhist sects, and somehow they become confused for you. But this somehow is, I told you at the beginning, it's the democracy society communities. Everyone has the right to develop themselves in a full way, in a hard way. So again, whoever stuck with politics, with power, it's not easy. It's not easy to develop this spiritual life because they don't have much time, right? You either one. So it's better for us to focus on one part. If you play with politics, go ahead, be senator, be whatever you want to. But if you are a spiritual guy, person, you need to devote your life more in order. But of course, in life we are interdependent. Sometimes we need to support other people, but that's not your cause. That's not your path. So yes.
So if power is an attachment, then wouldn't the monks have disagreed to become a council? Because wouldn't they have gained power when they became a council?
Again, because of that story, maybe you heard about the story, the one that said, oh, after Buddha passed away, said, I'm free now. I don't have anyone to point my mistake anymore. I don't have anyone who remind me, I have to do this, I have to do that. Because of that incident, this monk, he called fire holy monks come together to decide the Buddha teaching again. That's not the central authority. That's a different story. Make sense? Because that is for spirit to carry on the Buddha teaching. They concern more about Buddha teaching than to control the whole Sangha. That's a different story. You see that? That point? That's just a good point. Just for mention that. Is that clear? So again, wherever you go, right? If religion misses politics, there's some problem there, right? And that's pretty good. Our founders, they have that kind of constitution. State and religion be separate. It's pretty good. That's somehow, people still miss it. Okay, good. How about number 2, Second Buddhist Council? Anyone of you heard this? Okay. Anyway, that's fine. So, the Second Buddhist Council it's happened about 100 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana. The problem is it's concerned with some kind of minor groups. Like can monks eat afternoon, or can monks keep morning, keep go because people offer them go morning and so forth. So this is just the minor things. And so they have them start some kind of argument or debate, and they split out. So that's not much important. Okay, so that just happened 100 years after the end of Vietnam. Okay, how about the third one? Yes, what do you have there?
The Third Buddhist Council was started by the Orion King Ashoka under the leadership of the monk Buddha.
Yeah.
The purpose of the council was to purify the Buddhist movement. The king asked the monks about what Buddha taught, and they said he taught eternalism, which is a philosophical approach to the ontical nature of time. Eternalism is condemned in the canonical Brahmajala Sutta. The king asked the virtuous monks, and they said the Buddha was a teacher of analysis, and this was confirmed by Avalokitesa.
Yeah. Okay. We discussed about this today and next time. Ashoka. He's one of the most important figures in Buddhism. Without him, probably Buddhism could not spread far. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay, he's the one, Ashoka. He's the one who had the monks, Mongolia, to convene the third Buddhist council, because some in Buddhist monastics communities during those times, there were many monks that have different views. So the reason why this king, he support that monk to convene the third Buddhist council. And according to let me see. Yeah, according to the some scholar, the third Buddhist council is the time that they wrote down the Buddhist teaching. First, more than 200 years right after Buddha had the Nirvana, passed away, and and after that council, this king, he sent many Buddhist missionaries to different worlds, and we talk about that. So it is very interesting. Yeah. And I don't know, probably he was the one who initiated this kind of tradition, religious missionary in early times. Now I don't know about all the tradition in the West. Of course, later on, right, Christianity had that kind of missionary job, but somehow during this time, this king, he after the third council, he had many missionaries to different countries. We talk about this. Okay, now number, and of course there's other Buddhist council too. The fourth, the fifth, and so forth. And according to Buddhist council here, and according to some Buddhist scholar, they have and the four Buddhist council. It happened it's organized in Sri Lanka, and this is the cave of the place where the yeah, this is a place in Sri Lanka where they convened the third Buddhist council in Sri Lanka, but according to all traditions, they have different record about the Buddhist council in Kashmir. Kashmir is the location between India and Pakistan. You know Pakistan, right? India and Pakistan. This is one here. The Kushan Emperor of Ganesha in the 4th century AD, he convened that four Buddhist council, and that is why later on, probably during Ashoka times, we talk about that he ordered to inscribe the Buddha teaching on the pillar, and he used the practice language to write the Buddha teachings on the pillar. We will talk about that later on. But after this form Buddhist council, they start to use Pali and Sanskrit. Actually, they are the same families. This language are the same families, just different times. So again, nowadays, the Pali is used by the Theravada tradition, and Sanskrit mostly by Mahayana tradition. we will encounter this one here. You know Theravada, right? That's just, the southern tradition, conservative tradition, or the elder traditions. Mahayana is liberal, or the northern traditions. Yeah. Oh, without S, sorry. No S. Yeah. Prakrit. Yeah. So they translate Prakrit, vernacular language, during the Ashoka times into Pali or Sanskrit here. And we will talk more about that. Okay, so that's the 4, and according to the tradition, they say they have the 5th and the 6th Buddhist council too, but later in the 19th century, 19th century in Burma, or the 6th century, the 6th Buddhist council in 1994, 1954. So anyway, so that's the according to the traditions. Okay, so before we move on, have any question? Okay, so that's yes.
How often do they have those conferences? Whenever something comes up, a conflict?
Yeah, this is there's no fixed rule in Buddhism. Yeah, because there's no central authorities. So depend. Like for the 5th and the 6th Buddhist council, the 5th is in Burma. Because Burma is a Buddhist country. And so there's a large group of Buddhist monks, so they will support like him to gather the monks to decide Buddha teaching again. And this is Buddhist council too.
So
yeah.
So how many are invited to the council?
Oh, so it depends. Let me say depend. For the first one, the first Buddhist council is 500, right? Mm-hmm. And the second one, they say about that many. For the third, about 1,000. And the fourth, they say probably somewhere around 1,000. But the fourth, the 5th, and the 6th is probably 10,000, and so forth. Depend. There is no fixed thing. Okay. And the reason why the Buddha teaching is still available up to now, due to their effort. One thing I want to mention is you may not understand how we preserve the Buddha teachings orally. And even me, before I didn't know that, I could not understand, I could not recognize. But when I went to India in 1998, 1999, one time I went to a Tibetan center, a Tibetan temple in Dharamsala. You know Dharamsala? This is headquarters of Dalai Lama in northern part of India, where his headquarters is, where it was the largest Tibetan settlement there. So at that temple, I don't say, probably hundreds, probably at least 400 or 500 Tibetan monks came together to recite Buddha teaching orally for months, not for weeks, for months. Orally. So they have traditions that, okay, so some monks, they do meditation, some monks, they go out to do the teachings, and some monks, they specialize in memorizing the Buddha teaching. And I don't have time, but if you can type on the YouTube, you may see some monks. I saw that video clips for the Thai monk. So every other weeks, they decide the Buddha's precept, the monk precept. So one monk, he sit on the platform, and all the monks sit around him. So this monk, he decides the monk or the monastic's rules orally without reading books. And if he meets some citizen, other monks who are sitting around him would remind him. I saw that video clips before. Yes.
Well, so they use the same language today as they did way back then.
During the Buddha times, the Buddha, according to some scholar, they say that he spoke the language of this. It's still a good question. Thank you. Yeah, let me see here. So according to some scholar, this is still debatable. So the Buddha speak okay, let me see. Let me this one. So according to many scholars, it's still debatable. So they say that the Buddha speak this language, the language of this country. Let me see. Okay, here. Here. According to some scholar, can you see? Oh, Magadha. They say that the Buddha spoke this language.
What is it?
Magadha.
Okay.
And this is what they call vernacular language. And one monk said that can the monk, can Buddha teachings compound let me see here. And some of them they say that some scholars they say that the Buddha still also speak Prakrit too, but this is debatable. So basically, there's some monk asked the Buddha, could we speak that language when we go out to teach? You understand that? Mm-hmm. Like in Buddhism, right? When they do the prayer, they use Latin, right? So, what do you think? If you were Buddha, what do you say? Use that language, or use the vernacular language?
Use what's going on today.
Because it'll get your teachings farther.
Yes, of course. The Buddha say no way. No, don't use that. Don't use only this language. Or whichever language available, whichever language you speak to the people, use that. And I heard some people complain that they may not understand about Latin, right? When they pray, right? But it's better for them to understand English, right? Mm-hmm. So there's Buddhist teaching. So later on, the reason why later on the Buddhist teaching was translated over before into starting from Ashoka times in Prakrit, when he inspired the Buddha teaching on some of his teaching onto the pillar, and later on. Remember, for the standard for Buddhist Council, they retranslate into Pali and Sanskrit. And this type of, especially this type of language, like Pali, is still available nowadays. So, if you want to become a Buddhist monk, a nun in the Theravada tradition, this is the must. You have to learn. This is the must. Whichever country you come from. So all the Theravada monks supposed to learn Pali, besides their own language. Make sense? But for Mahayana tradition, Sanskrit has been Sanskrit canon has been destroyed right after Muslim invasion during the 12th or 13th century. They burned the whole library at the Nalanda institution or university. But this language has been translated into Chinese, Tibetan, the two main ones, Chinese and Tibetan languages. So again, if you want to study in depth about Buddhism, these are the three languages you need to learn. Of course, nowadays English Buddhist teaching or English Buddhist Sutra is available in Pali. I mean, they have been translated from Pali, from Chinese, but not much. We have thousands. Remember, you asked me how many Bible we have? Thousands and thousands. We talk about that because you see, Buddha taught for 45 years, and every day. Remember, we talk about his daily schedule. They talk to the monks, the nuns, the lay people, even celestial beings. That has been recorded mainly by Venerable Nanda. And now they get some portion of the Buddhist teaching in Chinese and have been translated into English. But most of the part Sangha. So Mahakasipa is, I don't know whether you wrote about him. He is one of what we call the foremost disciple in practicing ascetic practice, and he was given the robe and bow by the Buddha. You know, in Buddhism, even especially in the Zen tradition, robe and bow is too important. They show the authenticity of the tradition. So especially later on, if you have time, 500 arhats, including Ananda and Upali. At that time, according to tradition, Ananda has not achieved to what we call arhatship yet. Arhatship, or holy, or sagehood state of mind yet. Did we talk about arhat yet? We talked about that, right? So sometimes I ask people, when, let's say, if you meet someone on the road, like you go to Louisville downtown or Iraqi and you study for Zen traditions, they really concern about authenticity of the traditions. Because in Buddhism we have many different branches, and if you are given robe and bow by the master, by the teachers, you have the authorities to be upholder of that tradition. So Mahakashipa was given by the Buddha robe and bow, but many people thought that he would put over the Buddha's past, but that's not the case. So he convinced the teachers. So he didn't designate any leader that take over his thoughts, but he mentioned that we need to take the Dharma and the rules as teachers. So for the division of relative, we talk about that, right? And one Brahman, he stepped up to divide Buddha read it into 8 portions, and something that's the for the lay people. But for the monastic, make someone that doesn't have any anger or private, what do you think about that person? Yeah.
You assume that their life is easier, they don't have any stress.
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason why it's so stressful because what? You still have emotional problems. You still have emotional frustration, remember? I message straight to you. So we still have a lot of expectation. Which